Rate is expected to hold steady when figures for March come out today. We'll have those details. And a U.S. Coast Guard cutter unleashed a cannon fire on a Japanese ghost ship on Thursday, ending a 13-month journey. Plus, 2 teens are known as heroes after saving 2 people from a fiery car crash. We'll take you to Palm Coast, where it all happened. Good afternoon. I'm Drew Carter. Those stories plus Mike Potter with the forecast coming up on your TV 20 News at noon. Good afternoon. Today's job numbers are a reflection of the ups and downs of this economy's stubborn recovery. As ABC's TJ Winnick reports, although more people went to work last month than the month before, it was less than predicted, disappointing many, though economists warn not to place too much significance on an individual month, but look instead to the trend.
Even with the stock market closed for the holiday, it was hardly a good Friday for the monthly jobs report. It was revealed employers added 120,000 jobs in March, far fewer than expected. It means the pace of hiring has slowed significantly.
That straight line acceleration path, it doesn't look like what we're on. We're still, again, better than where we were a year ago, but still, dealing with some headwinds to the economy.
It also means the unemployment rate hardly budged. It's now at 8.2%.
It's clear to every American that there will still be ups and downs along the way, and that we've got a lot more work to do.
Even before this morning's disappointing numbers, the Dow Jones dropped 4 straight days this week, as investors have renewed fears about the European debt crisis and a lack of action by the Federal Reserve. But there was good news this week as well. The number of Americans filing for unemployment, the lowest since April 2008, the depth of the recession.
We're certainly seeing more men getting hired than women, and that's simply because the jobs that have traditionally employed men, those industries are coming back.
That means more men hired in manufacturing, automotive, and retail. In Chattanooga, Tennessee, the Volkswagen plant announced 800 new jobs.
These new team members will allow us to extend our weekly production capacity.
Another encouraging sign, a new survey shows 30% of employers say they now plan to hire full-time workers in the next 4 months. TJ Winnick, ABC News, New York.
Residents of the Blue Creek and Westchester neighborhoods in Gainesville woke up yesterday morning to a barrage of spray-painted graffiti, much of it racial and sexual in nature. Gainesville police have arrested 3 people. The names of the suspects can't be released because they are juveniles, and police say they're accused of terrorizing with spray paint. The images include body parts, a swastika, and African-American slurs. Homes, cars, and even street signs were painted. Police say the suspects even tried to break into a home. Residents say the vandalism cost them several $1,000s in damage.
Kind of violated in a way because we lived on the other side of town in the not so good neighborhood for 11 years and nothing like that ever happened. And then we moved to this side of town in a better, nice, calm neighborhood, and then something like this just kind of tears it up a little bit.
Several residents say the Northwest Gainesville neighborhood saw a spike in vandalism in the past 2 weeks, including a porta potty knocked over in the street and a TV thrown in the middle of the road. GPD says despite the racial slurs, this is not considered a hate crime, and they don't believe any of the victims were specifically targeted. He has never been sentenced to life in prison, but the man accused of attempting to rob the Sun State Federal Credit Union in Gainesville last week has been in trouble with the law many times before. Records show Charles Jerkins has been in trouble since the 1960s in other states. He spent just over 30 years behind bars. Jerkins is accused of going inside the credit union and demanding money. We asked State Attorney's Office why a man who has an extensive history can be out on the streets.
You just can't say that, gee, this person obviously doesn't learn their lesson, and so therefore they should be in prison the rest of their life. It doesn't work that way.
Spencer Mann says any criminal who has a history can gain points, which could be added to increase the sentence. Mann says Jerkins can get additional time since he is a career criminal, but it could take several months before a judge can make a verdict. And now it's time to take a first look at the weather with Mike. Mike, it's a beautiful day to go outside and read a book, relax, get a suntan, just enjoy the weekend.
Good day for getting outside, Duke. And I tell you what, it looks like it's going to be continuing through the weekend and probably into early next week.
Beautiful.
So some good news ahead. All right, let's go check what's going on. Nice. We'll have an update on Saturday and Sunday coming up in just a few minutes.
All righty. Thanks, Mike.
All right, you are.
Thanks. It's a battle at sea, the U.S. Coast Guard versus a ghost ship. And as ABC's David Curley reports, it ended as disaster averted.
This shrimping vessel, swept away during the massive 2011 Japanese tsunami, had no power, no crew, a ghost ship. For more than a year, making its way toward the coast of Alaska, potentially blocking shipping lanes and an environmental risk.
It posed a significant threat. The Coast Guard was extremely concerned that this vessel could potentially cause loss of life, pollution, or environmental damage.
The ship drifted more than 8,600 miles across the Pacific Ocean, traveling at just 1 mile per hour. First spotted off the coast of Canada on March 24th, it then started drifting towards the coast of Alaska. The ship held more than 2,000 gallons of potentially hazardous diesel fuel. Rather than risk the chance of it running aground or endangering other vessels in the busy shipping lanes, the Coast Guard decided to fire a massive cannon at the ship. A plume of smoke rose from the vessel. After 4 hours of fire and taking on water, the nearly 200-foot vessel sank.
The amount of diesel fuel that is on board this vessel would safely be dissipated by the actions of the wind and the waves before it posed any significant threat to wildlife refuges on shore.
Tons of other debris from Japan have either washed ashore or sunk to the bottom of the ocean in the years since the tsunami. Scientists are still assessing the potential danger to seafood and wildlife posed by all that debris. David Curley, ABC News, Washington.
A proposal to give restaurants the option of allowing dogs to eat at outdoor restaurant venues in Gainesville will have to wait until next month. In 2006, state officials made it possible for local governments to decide whether or not to permit doggy dining. 2 years ago, Ocala approved the idea. Now in Gainesville, the manager at the Warehouse restaurant approached city commissioners about a similar plan. Some dog owners say it would be a great way for businesses to draw in more customers.
I'd come out more often if more places would allow dogs, and it's a great way to socialize.
Doggy dining was supposed to be discussed at yesterday's city commission meeting, but it was pulled from the agenda because the proposal wasn't quite ready. As if they weren't stressed out enough, some military service members coping with post-traumatic stress disorder are being denied their medical service dogs. A North Central Florida facility that trains canines to help veterans combat symptoms of PTSD is facing a sudden disruption in funding from the Veterans Administration. TV 20's Kristen Giannis reports that leaves a long waiting list waiting even longer.
They're giving up. They're losing hope.
Raymond Galmish of Navarre, an Army veteran, says there's no time to waste.
This is the best treatment I've had in my life.
Galmish is living with PTSD and says Dazzle, a medical service dog trained here, saved his life.
I'm extremely angry at the fact that they even considered stopping it.
But Guardian Angels medical service dogs in Williston is in a bind.
There's a lot of people out there and a lot of families out there that need the hold lifted.
Craig McCoy is one of 70 veterans waiting for the VA to start pumping funds back into the nonprofit organization.
We did have to lay off our staff, so at the moment there is no further training taking place.
Guardian Angels is part of a pilot program that began last year. They've paired a dozen veterans with dogs, but the VA put a hold on funding in January.
The pilot program was designed to quantify the benefits that these dogs are giving to these veterans, and if the program is successful, which it's been 100% successful for us, then it may roll out to all the qualified veterans across the country that need the things that we can provide.
Problems with another training program in the pilot group caused the hold, but Galmish says the veterans waiting here shouldn't be punished.
It's the worst possible feeling anyone could have, is to feel like you have hope and then they take it and they take it away and they tell you, you have to wait. You might not even get a chance to do this.
We now know the cause of death of the Gainesville diver who died at Weeki Wachee Springs last weekend. According to a medical examiner's report, an air embolism is to blame for 29-year-old Marcin Kay's death. That's when an air bubble gets into the bloodstream. Hernando County deputies say Kay was returning to the surface of the water when he got stuck in a space too small to escape. The sheriff's office has concluded its investigation. 2 teens are being hailed as heroes after what turned out to be an unforgettable spring break. They rushed to the scene of a fiery car crash, pulling 2 people from the burning car just in time. ABC's Matt Gutman has their story and the dramatic 911 calls.
Some guy just got in a huge accident.
The car careened past Luke Vaughn and Cody Decker.
And then we hear these tires screeching and this huge crash.
It was Tuesday night, and the 2 17-year-olds in Palm Coast, Florida, on spring break raced towards the car, now wrapped around a tree. Cody ran ahead, and Luke dialed 911.
Who's in there? How many people? There's 2 people. Do you know if anybody's breathing?
2 people, Carlos Adams and Tracy Lopez, were trapped inside.
We started walking around looking at the car, and we hear moaning coming from the passenger side.
Yeah, they're both alive. Is there anybody trapped in the vehicle? Yeah, he's trapped. Do you know what kind of injuries he has? She's got a bloody nose. Oh my God. Oh, fire. There's fire. There's a lot of fire.
Suddenly, Luke and Cody were in serious danger also.
The vehicle is engulfing in flames. Are you able to get the victims out of the vehicle? They're trying to right now.
We couldn't get the door open because the hinges were jammed, so we bent the door frame down.
But they couldn't budge it. Luke had to put down the phone to help.
The lady is out. We're trying to get the guy out.
His legs were still, at the pedals, and it actually had crushed them. The engine bay was on fire, so his feet were actually getting burned the whole time.
This morning, the couple is still recovering in the hospital, alive, thanks to these 2 spring breakers, now being hailed as true teen heroes.
If I watched 2 people burn to death, I would be haunted by that for the rest of my life, and there was no way that I could physically let myself walk away from that.
Matt Gutman, ABC News, Orlando.
Some of us like to clean up when spring comes around, but what about your finances?
I'm Stacey Johnson.
Welcome back. If your family observes the ritual of spring cleaning, there may be still one place left to tidy up, your paperwork. Here's Money reporter Stacey Johnson for some helpful tips on how to keep your paperwork in order.
Cleaning house is a spring ritual for many families. But what about those overstuffed drawers and file cabinets? Before you add this year's tax return to those bulging folders, see what you can clean out. You should keep copies of your tax returns forever so you can prove you filed. The paper that supports your deductions you should keep for at least 3 years from the filing date, because that's how long the IRS typically goes back on audits. Houses and investing also generate lots of paper. When it comes to stuff like stocks, your house, or improvements to your house, you want to keep those records for at least 3 years after you've sold them because they're tax related. But that doesn't mean you have to keep everything on paper. If you're short on space and long on time, buy a cheap scanner. Scan important stuff and organize the digital copies. Then you can eliminate paper entirely. And while you're at your computer, download some free software that'll help you organize. The Insurance Information Institute, for one, offers free software that you can use to create a home inventory and keep track of everything from insurance policies to investment accounts. And practically everyone has paper they either don't need now or never did. Old utility statements, reconciled bank statements, old receipts, canceled checks, instruction manuals for stuff you don't have anymore. Get rid of it! And remember, whenever you do trash stuff, be sure and shred anything that might contain personal information. Think you're done with your spring cleaning? Not quite. I've got 3 more ideas you need to see. They're right here at MoneyTalksNews.com. I'm Stacey Johnson.
It's a beautiful day outside, but will the weather last for the entire weekend? Mike Prado will have your forecast when we come back.
Upper 70s on Sunday, because we've just had this extended period of very warm weather, and we're going to take a pretty big jump downward as far as temps go.
Well, as long as I get to enjoy the orange and blue game tomorrow, we're good.
Yeah, 1 o'clock looks good at the swamp, so yeah, looking good.
That works. Thanks, Mike. Alrighty. He's known for swinging across town when his spidey senses are going off. We'll let you know about what's happening to a popular superhero in the Showbiz Wrap right after the break. Here are some of the stories we are working on for TV 20 News at 5:30 and 6. Opening statements begin in the Heather Strong murder trial, and we take a look at gas prices, how car dealerships are being affected. Plus, a church in Archer is putting on the crucifixion. See who's actually participating. Those stories, sports, and weather tonight on TV 20 News, starting with 5:30 live. For the latest on what's happening in Hollywood, here's Larry Jacobs with the Showbiz Wrap.
We hereby declare this Adam West Day in Hollywood.
Holy Hollywood, Batman. Adam West, who played the Cape Crusader in the 60s television show, finally got his reward. At age 83, West swooped in to claim his star on the Hollywood's Walk of Fame. Accompanied by the trusty Batmobile, West said the honor puts him in great company.
To have my star here between Judy Garland, Olivia de Havilland, this is quite flattering for an actor.
Actors Liam Neeson and Ralph Fiennes make another dynamic duo. They are movie stars and friends, even if people can't always tell them apart. Neeson, that's him on the left, says he once signed an autograph with Ralph Fiennes' name rather than disappoint an eager fan.
Ultimate Spider-Man.
If you can't get enough of Spider-Man, things are slinging your way. Disney, which is also the parent company of ABC Television, is featuring your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man in a new XD animated series. Spidey's co-creator Stan Lee is also featured as a janitor. And that's what's happening in Hollywood. I'm Larry Jacobs, ABC News, New York.
And we get a final look at the weather with Mike. What's going on?
Hard to complain about the weather this weekend, or even today as far as that goes.
Oh, it's a beautiful day when I drove in.
Yeah, a gorgeous day outside. We could use a little bit more rain, frankly, and we didn't get much yesterday, and certainly this morning a few showers, and that was pretty much it. And some areas not even getting even that. 78 Gainesville, 79 Ocala, cooler low to mid-70s, Lake City, Cross City right now. Nice afternoon. Some scattered clouds out there, but drier air continues to filter into the area this afternoon, so the humidity drops a little bit. We'll notice that drop even more for Saturday and Sunday. You want to get outside, whether it be the orange and blue game, baseball, softball games this weekend, a lot of outdoor stuff going on. It looks great. Upper 70s for the highs and overnight lows down in the 40s there Saturday night.
All right, a lot going on. That's all the time we have for now. Have a good afternoon.
Take care. Bye-bye.